And the YouTube live stream is up and rolling. And it is after 8 o'clock. So I think we'll get started. We'll probably have people pop in throughout the time. And we have people watching online. We have people who like to watch later online. So I trust that the message will get out. Started. We'll probably have people pop in throughout the time.
Miss Beyondich?
Yes, sir.
My Major Erskine. Oh, you got him. He that's my boss. He was popping on. He just wanted to watch and listen.
Perfect. I'm getting everybody entered. All right, he should be in now.
And that was, sorry about that, folks. That was, once the YouTube stream starts, it's got a little bit of a delay. So I have to shut it. I have to close that browser tab. Otherwise, I can hear the feedback from it. So we are live on YouTube. Welcome to our morning coffee at STrEAM Academy. This is what we've been doing every Tuesday and Thursday for parents and our STrEAM community and STrEAM families, bringing you information and updates. And lately, we've also been scheduling special guests and presentations for folks on our morning coffee meetings. On Tuesday, we had Mr. Holsopple, one of our teachers, presenting on tips and tricks for e-learning, and we had Forrest Dunbar presenting, who's the assembly chair, Anchorage Assembly Chair. And if you would like to listen to what Mr. Holsopple or Forrest had to say, you can find that on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Adam O'Kelke. So welcome. Today we have some awesome special guests to talk about East High School and transition to East High School. So we've got Mr. Everett, who is a counselor at East High School, and we've got Sergeant Watts, who is oversees the JROTC program at East High School. And we also have, help me, Mr. Watts, with the correct title for
Major Erskine. Yes, so he is he's connecting on now. Major Dan Erskine.
We've got Major Erskine online with us as well. So our counselor, Miss Bonert, invited the East High School folks to join us. Most STrEAM Academy students are East Anchorage students, probably 70 to 80%. And by East Anchorage, when we say East Anchorage, we mean you are zoned for Clark and Begich, you're zoned for Bartlett and East High School. So a lot of students go to East High School. We've had a lot of STrEAM students leave from 8th grade to go to East and have a lot of success. And we've even had students go and join the JROTC program with Sergeant Watts and have a lot of success there. So we're really happy to have our East High School friends on today, and we're gonna turn it over to them and allow them to take the mic and tell us about East High School and transitioning over and what options are available.
Very good, thank you. This is Robbie Everett speaking. Sorry for my still photo, but that saves a little bit of data. My wife's an educator as well and is Zooming all day long, and so we do what we can to kind of make that happen. Well, welcome all. Hopefully we can answer questions and provide some insight as to our experience and how to help students find success in their transition from middle school setting up to high school. Hopefully my comments will be true for wherever they go. Just as a little back history, I was a 15-year classroom teacher. I'm still an ASD high school teacher in the online community. I teach largely social studies and elective courses for high school. But my previous experience was all STEM, all science, outdoor education. Have some wonderful experiences taking students to actually do science research on Kilimanjaro, etc. One thing that is true across the board is students who are involved and plan with the end in mind find success. And so some of my experience can go back to my classroom. I'm going to share a photo here. And since I knew First Sergeant Watts was going to be on, and I'm a huge fan of our East JROTC program, I want to share a picture from when I was teaching after school 21st century at Mountain View Elementary. Okay. From this picture, you can see some East High students in JROTC program. And they are actually instructing my class on how to properly fold the American flag and the Alaskan flag. These are not to pigeonhole these kiddos, but they're all at East now, many of them. And so, boy, I've got a long history with some of these kids, from teaching them how to open their lockers when they were in 5th grade. And now they come up to me and they say, thank you for taking the time to learn how to do a combination lock. The little gal there you see on the far left, top part of the screen, she's one of our star basketball, volleyball players at East and a real standout. But when they were 5th graders, they were little squirrels. And you would not believe how attentive they were and inspired by these young JROTC cadets who came to help them learn how to fold the flag. It was one of the best things I ever did. So I'm going to switch back there. Just wanted to let you see that. Now, what I wanted to share on this before I turn the time over to First Sergeant Watts is we have found that students who are engaged in any activity and continue it are much more successful. Students who are in orchestra and stick with it. Students who do world language and stick with it. Students who do art and stick with it. Students who do shop and stick with it. The data, there's lots of data out there to show that those students are learning skills that are valuable in the workforce and in our communities because they learn to complete something and stick with it until they arrived at some sort of proficiency. So we all want to encourage exploration and checking out a lot of things, but at the same time, we have found success when we encourage students to stick with a program and build that into their toolbox and who they are. So one final parting shot before I turn it over to First Sergeant Watts. When I come around and visit with middle schools, and I was glad to be at STrEAM, but I visited with lots of middle schools this year for freshman orientation things and scheduling their elective courses. One of my little sales pitches that I would like to share with all of you is there are really 4 needs that students going into high school need to consider from the beginning so that that end goal is something that they really want when they get there. First thing is obviously we need to graduate. We need to take classes and plan for what is needed to graduate. That is definitely a need, but it's only one of the needs. In my opinion and my experience, this next year will be year 30 for me. My experience has said that another need is what does the student need for their career and college planning? And when I say college, my youngest son makes as much money as I do already after 30 years, and he's a plumber. And so vocational training, what do they need now becomes a need to do in high school to prepare them for what they may want to do. Now, yeah, I don't expect them to know exactly what they want to do, but there are some common themes that will prepare people for whatever. And JROTC is one of those examples. They provide stability and some themes that will help people no matter what area they go into. A third need that is very critical is, especially we're noticing it now, students are really missing their connections, their comrades, if you will, in their choir, in their art class, in their theater class. They really need to develop their talents and build that social network, the who I am thing. So there's a really important need piece. No, they don't need to be in men's choir, but maybe for them that break in the day is something that they need. So please consider that in your conversations with students. And finally, the fourth need, I think, is also becoming more prevalent and more of a forefront issue is, what do they need to be a better human being? And that needs to be just as much on the conversation table as any of those other things. So to get involved in service organizations at East High or any of their high schools, get involved in clubs and groups and participate, that develops them into a very well-rounded, their applications are better. The people who are looking at them, whether it's for employment or acceptance into college, they're much more competitive when they can show all four of those things. That last need is where I really push students into service. And you notice these JROTC students that I showed you that picture of, they were doing that as part of their service outreach from their program to help the local community schools. So that's all I have. I'll accept questions later, but I'll turn the time over to First Sergeant Watts to take it from there.
Thank you, Mr. Everett. I want to say good morning to my boss. Good to see you, boss. I'll give you a few minutes once I've wrapped up. Mr. Everett is absolutely on target. A kid involved in their high school journey is much more productive and finds out that there's more to going to school than just going to school. Our program is dead set in the middle of creating bonds and relationships that, similar to anything else, if they become close to school, athletes do the same thing. They stay in contact with one another longer. They tend to want to give back more to their old establishment. So the program is not about trying to get kids in the military. So what I want to go right to doing, if I could get the screen shared, Ms. B, is show one of the videos that, here we go. And this is in our curriculum. And I will let the video speak for itself. Is it sharing screen?
It's sharing screen, it's not sharing sound for Sergeant.
Oh, hang on, everybody. Hang on, everybody. I apologize. I thought I had this down right. All right, let me stop share. You say it's not sharing sound?
No, sir, it's sharing video fine, not sharing sound.
Okay, stand by. All right, I just adjusted. That might have been my computer. All right, we're gonna try that again. Go here. It is an aged video, but all the information is completely valid. This is an older video. We hope to get a newer product soon. All right, let's try it again. Give me a thumbs up if I got sound.
You got sound, but it's a little low. Can you run that volume a little higher, sir?
All right, I'm gonna try it. no.
Hey, First Sergeant. Can you hear
Yes. Yes, I can.
me? So I just Googled it. I'm not sure if this is still a fix, but I just typed out in the chat what I looked up. I got some echo going on, so I'm gonna mute again.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna come out of this and kind of go into, let me unshare my screen, everyone. I'm completely out of this as to why I can't get my volume for you all to hear. So the program is designed specifically for leadership and character development. So the 3 instructors at the school, my boss being the Major Erskine is the department head, and I've got an instructor buddy. I have a little minute and 30 video right from YouTube that should play that I want to conclude this with to show you our kids doing their things. Mr. Everett, I appreciate that picture you showed of Cadet Rosga and Smallwood. I'm absolutely beginning to feel how old I am, and the objective in the community service piece is to connect the kids as a team as well as to the community. So JROTC's foundational ethic is motivating young people to be better citizens. We often have kids look into going into the military, and we coach a way of taking that motivation and opening up some other opportunities for them, letting them know that that the military is a great choice, but hey, here's a way to enhance your life as well as your outlook on life with some other opportunities. So it's an elective, just like any other elective. Most of the kids that get in it stay in it for the whole year. Like a large majority of our cadets stay in it all 4 years. It's a 4-year program. None of the uniforms cost anything unless a student has misplaced or has done something to destroy it. It's all government property. The program is government funded. We are probably the most fortunate instructors on the planet to be able to be selected to do this. All 3 instructors have to go through a certification program. It is a military man's job teaching JROTC. So if you know friends over at the other schools, over at the other services, you'll know that we've got Navy and Air Force programs in the district. So wherever wherever the 8th grader goes, if they don't go to East, if they don't go to Bartlett, they go to an Air Force school, they go to a Navy school, they're going to a quality program. They're going to a quality program. It's the cost to do it is absolutely nothing. It's my boss likes to call it free 99 is what he likes to call it. It's a pretty sweet deal. The kids work hard though for the things that we do get to do. The program is free to join and free to get into, but we do fundraisers to fund activities that we do that are, that are extraordinary. I mean, we've traveled to the civilian marksmanship championships down in Utah, the Army Junior ROTC Nationals in Cleveland. We were scheduled to go. We had a kid qualify for the National Junior Olympics for the third straight year. And of course that won't happen, but those are opportunities that are rare for a kid in a lot of the demographic that the East Side is, for a young man or woman to experience. It is a life enhancing event. So we like to speak highly of the program. We like to think that the program's got a great following. And a lot of those kids you saw in that picture that Mr. Everett showed you, one or two of them still stay. I looked in the background. As a matter of fact, Joe Gwynn, he still gives of his time. He's in the Navy Reserve, and he still comes back and does JROTC events with us now. We've got a handful of kids that do that. So it builds connections and bonds well beyond what they're experiencing now. So, give my boss a couple of minutes before I show this last video, and then I'll call it a day. Boss, you want to add anything to it?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name's Dan Erskine. I'm a retired major. I retired in 2017. I was an Army aviation branch officer, Chinook pilot by trade. And prior to that, I was actually enlisted in the early 90s. So I got a little bit of an enlisted time. And I first starting hit on it a minute ago. I feel like I hit the lottery. I feel like every day I go into work, for a bunch of reasons. One of the biggest reasons I feel like I hit the lottery is I didn't really know about JROTC. I'm a senior ROTC from the University of Montana, commissionee. And even as an officer, I heard about this JROTC thing and I was like, what? Why would they do that in high school? I just didn't get it. Well, the more I've learned about it, I was like, towards retirement and after retirement, I was kind of like, well, this is kind of interesting. This might be cool. And rapidly, I just absolutely fell in love with it for a ton of reasons. My two sons, who they're both Eagle Scouts, and if I was to compare something, you would have to be, JROTC provides what I've learned, and I firmly believe this. I played football and wrestled in high school, and we didn't have JROTC in Montana, and I wasn't a scout. But if JROTC would be like combining German 1 through 4, or pick a language 1 through 4, because you have 4 years of it. It's an elective every year, and then having, being an Eagle Scout plus having basketball, volleyball, all that stuff kind of rolled into one. That's what you get out of it. And one of the things I find very fascinating about it, like the military, it's not for everybody, but I would say there's room for most. There's, like life and the military, you have what I like to call this isn't just for top-notch people who are trying to go to an academy or trying to get in the military. It's for them, but it's also, there's just like every team you ever worked on or been a part of, work team, volunteer team, any church team, there's always going to be A players, B players, C players, and D players. And we there's room for everybody. We have special needs cadets, and they're some of my favorite cadets. And we have some kids that we're trying to get into West Point, and we have the whole gamut in between. And so it's something as a parent, and having my sons be Eagle Scouts, I wish I would have at least appreciated this a little bit more before now actually being immersed into it. And like First Sergeant said, we're exposing kids in, economically disadvantaged kids to travel. last year I took some seniors to Hawaii for a senior leadership experience where we did tons of stuff. I mean, and some of those kids one of the kids never been on a boat before. And we took a civilian submarine ride, and we obviously flew out there and stayed in a hotel. It was the second time we stayed in a hotel. And so it's just, we're just expanding horizons, and there's a lot of opportunity for it with JROTC. So if you don't know about it, I would learn a little bit about it. And I would just like, thanks Top for giving me a second, and thanks folks for letting me give my testimony about, this program that it's a beautiful program. So thank you very much. I think you're muted, Top.
All right, I close with this video, everybody. We have sound, thumbs up. Still no sound?
Very lightly.
Yeah. All right. Can I unshare? Hey, thanks a lot. Appreciate the time this morning. Being able to share this with you. And again, uh-oh, sorry. There we go. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Appreciate your time and letting us present.
First Sergeant Watts, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's very interesting, very informative. Mr. Everett, thank you for coming on and sharing, both of you, what awesome options are available for our families at East High School. Ms. Gatlin, I know you're familiar with East High School, and Ms. Bonertz, I know you're connected with the staff over there, and I know our staff is confident when our students transition to East High School that they're going to some really good programs and have a lot of support over there. So that's good to know. I really appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions for First Sergeant Watts or for Mr. Everett or for our staff about East High School, about transitioning to high school, or anything else?
This is Major Erskine. I have one, Dan Erskine. I have one alibi real quick. I actually, I have a YouTube channel where if you want to get an idea, a real good idea what we have going on, I've kind of documented a lot of the things that we do throughout the year. You could get a real good idea if you went onto the YouTube channel, and it's a simple YouTube search of Major Erskine, Erskine, and you can get on there and have a peek. Thank you.
Is that what you just put in the chat box, Ms. Beyondich? You're mute.
No, I'm getting ready to search that so I can add that to the chat box.
Major Erskine, we'll search that up really quick, and we will put that in the chat box for people who are online. And then we can post that on our Facebook page with a little blurb about the presentation today, and so people can view it that way also. For those of you on YouTube, or if you missed the link, sounds like if you just go to YouTube and search Major Erskine, you can find that information. Oh, thank you once again, and thank you for joining us as well today, Major Erskine. We appreciate it. And we really appreciate East High School's support and East High being willing to be online with us today. So I'll give it a little bit of a pause we'll have a little bit of wait time for any questions for our guest speakers today.
I just want to thank you for the presentation. I agree with you so much about finding ways that the students can connect and follow through on activities that maybe aren't strictly academic. I believe in that 100%. And this is another excellent option, and really appreciate you guys sharing this. Thank you.
I do have a question. So if I was an 8th grade student right now, and because I'm in limbo and not really sure where I'm going, and I decided, oh, I want to go to East, or oh, I want to go to Bartlett, or I'm going to go to West. Robbie, what would be kind of the best avenue to get connected? Should the students just be contacting the counseling department? What are some steps to take for students who might be kind of in limbo right now yet?
Well, that's a great question. If they're in limbo, what I would do is start to utilize Google. And I would start checking out what is happening at those schools. That is also a similar skill that I try to get my high school students to do when they're considering what should I do next. Because a really good program is really directing students that this is just a stepping stone into the next part of their life. Graduation is not the end of their life. And although it may be a great accomplishment and something really celebrated by their family, we really are embracing more of, we're pushing them out the door into a bigger, better opportunity. So I guess I would encourage students to check out the websites of the schools. I would check out what are students doing, find out their activities. So I'll put in the chat box in a minute the link to East High School. You can look at the activities office. You can find the counselor page. But as I have found, and I've taken, sometimes I brag about this, I try not to, but I probably have taken more students on amazing field trips in high school than anybody I know. And so one blessing that came out of that is my students had the opportunity to kind of see other things happening in their world. For example, when I took students from Mountain View Elementary to Campbell Creek Science Center, for the majority of the students on the bus as 5th graders, they had not been further south than East High School on their journey to Campbell Creek Science Center. They have not been out of their neighborhoods. And so just think of that when you get an Inupiaq Eskimo kid on a jet flying to Africa. That was a big life change. And how did that happen? It didn't start with the Africa dream. It started with, let's explore what else is out there so that I can learn to walk in both worlds. You know, we still want them to be an honorable Inupiaq man, but he also walks in both worlds. And so learning to recognize that and the options that JROTC, science, we have wonderful science opportunities, music, oh my goodness, there's so many things to explore. So really kids are scared to come to high school. It's the unknown, it's unnerving, you know, they want to know where the bathrooms are. They want to know, am I going to be able to get in my locker? And so if we can put some of those fears aside by maybe countering it with the excitement of the options, then that kind of takes over. And so again, I would encourage them to explore what's available. I'm a firm believer that you can find wonderful programs no matter what school you go to. But you have to also find ones where you feel like you fit in. And the beautiful thing about East is we still can brag that we're the most ethnically diverse high school in the entire United States. And with that, I think comes a real opportunity for all students. We get to interact, we get to share what we bring to the table. I love learning from all of my students. One of my favorite things was learning how to make sambusas from one of our groups at school, our multicultural club decided, of course, I had a little push along the way because I knew some of the students who needed to build their resume, but I encouraged them to set up a teacher after school cooking class and learn how to make sambusas. And we had probably 20 teachers sign up to take that. And the kids just love teaching how to make their ethnic foods, and what a rich experience that was.
Thank you.
I'm happy to answer questions about elective classes. That's what we're worrying about now. Freshmen, incoming freshmen's window is still open for them to access next year's track on Q and take a look at their elective classes. And so if you have any questions about that process, how many credits, how to put alternates in there so that if there is a conflict with your language or music or JROTC and your volleyball class, let's say, you put some alternates in there to give the computer another option rather than have you stand in line and fill a hole in the fall.
Okay, when is there a date that that's going to close for freshmen?
I heard from the district office yesterday that they have a magical date. It's May something or other. But the better thing would be to take care of it sooner than later. And if they have any questions, by contacting you, you know how to get a hold of me, we can get them taken care of.
Okay, and just for any 8th grade parents who might be listening to this later, I did post instructions on how to add electives on all of the 8th grade advisory classes. So if you want to help your student do that, there are instructions, but of course you can ask me, or high school counselors too are also available.
And I'm hosting a Zoom on how to do that as well from 3 to 4 p.m. today. I don't know if you got that link from either ASD or Mr. Spinella, but I can send that to you, Amy, as well, to
Thank
send
you.
it to your parents.
Yeah.
But this is just, again, for East students, because if they are trying to do track transfers or they're zoned for another school, the elective courses that East has or that Bartlett has or West or whoever only shows up for the student that's zoned for that school until those track transfers or those zone exemptions go through and they are rolled into that new school.
We have a parent with their hand up. Thank you, Mr. Everett, for that. Mrs. Morris, do you have a question?
Actually, just more of a comment. I just wanted to thank Mr. Everett because I think that his last 2 points, excuse me, his last 2 points were really appreciated. I know that the service organizations and becoming a better person, that, being able to contribute to your community and to the people around you. I think that that's so important. I know that when I was in high school, I was part of Key Club, and that also gave me all those additional connections that I probably would not have had, and those opportunities that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't been part of that club. And then later going to college, I was part of a co-ed fraternity that was a service fraternity. And I think that that's just such a rich piece of my experiences through both the high school and college. And I just appreciated that comment. And I just wanted to say thank you for being here and thank you for sharing.
Awesome, thank you. That was really a nice presentation this morning. It gives us good perspective on what it looks like moving into the high school world for our kids. Anyone else have questions for any of us? For First Sergeant Watts, Major Erskine is with us, for Mr. Everett, or for our staff, for our counselor, Ms. Bonertz?
Maybe I could explain a link that I just added in the chat box. Actually, I need to make sure that that gets put in to all. It's going to go to everybody right now. The first one is a link to the college and career site at East High School. Often we hear in the community that people don't know what's going on. And amazingly, in our world of technology today, people clamor for more information. They don't know where to get it, etc. So we're trying to help students learn and parents that the information is available, but sometimes you have to seek it out a little bit. This website is the clearinghouse for our school on college visits coming up, parent nights when we're talking about writing essays, doing applications, those kind of things. The next link is the link for activities. That's the next big question that tons of parents will start thinking about, and students in the next few weeks. Those of you who are familiar with that process, they're all now worried about fall sports. What do I need to do fall sports or activities? And so that next link, everything's done online now, but for parents that are considering this, students need to start working on getting a physical done if they're wanting to do sports. But on that activities link is also information for all of the clubs, who the advisors are, when they meet, all of that kind of information. So if you have a question, you reach out and there are answers.
I'd like to, Chris Watts, if you're looking to contact us offline, myself, Major Erskine, Purcell, and Lobato, I've taken our website down, but our email is the district email. So it's, as you see our names appearing in the screen, last name _ first name at asdk12.org. I've taken, like I said, we have our own website. I've taken it down, trying to get it updated. It was a little lacking in data, so I'm gonna get that back up. But our emails are located on the school district website, and we're reachable anytime, especially during this time frame. So if you've got some specific questions or you want to have a specific conversation, my boss is well educated on the college track process. I realize for 8th graders, that sounds like that's so far off, but we get a couple that come in and are laser focused on getting to that mark at a high level. So he's the right coach for that. So we stand ready to answer questions. Thanks for letting us up. Thanks for letting us on too today, Mr. McKelkey. We really appreciate it.
Yes, likewise. Thank you. Ms. Swanson, you have a question for our guests?
Oh, I was just going to state it's not unusual for the 8th graders to be laser focused. And then if you consider middle college where they can get dual enrollment, then it's really not unusual. So thank you, gentlemen, for coming in and talking with us.
Thanks. All right, anything else? Well, we really appreciate you all being on and joining. Thank you so much for your time today and for helping us understand all the options available at East High School and the cool things happening, all the programs at East High School that Mr. Everett talked about, and especially the options with JROTC. It's very cool. So we have a number of students who will be going to East. I have students who go every year, and so this will be good. All right. Well, thank you. We'll wrap up that segment of our morning coffee. It's my friendly reminder, a little plug. We have morning coffee for STrEAM, really for anyone, but targeted at our STrEAM families and friends and community every Tuesday and Thursday until the end of the school year. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 a.m. The Zoom invite has been the same so far, so we haven't had any issues with it. Same link, and we post that on social media and on send it out on our email system to STrEAM families. So encourage and welcome everyone to join us. So I'm looking ahead at the schedule for next week. We don't have any special topics nailed down 100% yet for Tuesday. So Tuesday right now is an open session, but we will probably get something scheduled. And then Thursday, we have something scheduled Thursday, right, Ms. Bionich? Is it Thursday we're talking about online registration. And I believe Thursday we have Mrs. Johnson, who's the principal from Highland, coming on. So if you're in 6th or 7th grade, you're not allowed to talk to Mrs. Johnson at Highland. It's kind of a joke, but actually, in all honesty, if we have students who, you know, feel like Highland would be a better fit and they want to go earlier, they can. But mostly that's targeted at our 8th grade students, like today, who might be interested in going on to Highland instead of their neighborhood school. So Tuesday is an open. We'll probably, like I said, we have a lot of ideas for guests and a couple kind of pending offers out there. We have an offer to Forrest Dunbar to return and follow up when he's available. And we've also talked with former Representative Les Guerra, who's a big STrEAM supporter, good friends with one of our founders, Mr. Cleaver, and has come in and done some pretty cool stuff at STrEAM. He did something with Miss Gable's social study class the last 2 years. So as soon as we know when former Representative Guerra is available, we'll get him scheduled. So that's our lineup coming up. I know the following week, the first week of May, we've got Jen Mickelson scheduled to come on and talk about migrant ed options. And we have a pretty exciting, pretty cool opportunity coming up. 2 of our founders and APC members, Andronell Brown and Whitney Diatri, are working on, they're doing a bunch of learning and classwork and research on trauma-informed care, and specifically talking about trauma-informed care right now during the COVID crisis and school closures and work from home, you know, stay home, how trauma-informed care, trauma-informed learning really applies to the situation that we're in now. So we don't have a firm date for that one yet, but I'm really excited that once they firm up the date, I think that'll be really insightful, just based on what they were telling us at our staff check-in yesterday. So those are the things on my mind for today. Mrs. Beyondich, do you have anything to share with folks? Just logistical stuff, reminders, little plugs?
I just want to remind everyone that we're still doing an all school assembly every Wednesday and Friday, all school PE assemblies. And those links are in our students' Google Classroom, their PE classroom, and also on the whole school Google Classroom. So join us Wednesdays and Fridays at 10 for some PE. We had a guest speaker yesterday in PE, a guest presenter who's returning to us next Wednesday. That's Professor Gable from UAA, and she's amazing. So we'll be redoing the pound class, and hopefully it's going to be easier the second time for me, because that was a lot of work yesterday. We have online registration.
Miss Beyondich, we should see if we can get her to come on one of our Tuesday or Thursday coffees and just kind of talk about what she does at UAA. And
yeah, she's an amazing presenter too. So it would be great to see her in person, but right now we'll just have to see her on Zoom. And then we have online registration is coming up, and so we're going to be talking about that coming up soon, and people will get more emails. And then also in the plans for any parents that know incoming students, we have our open house in 3 weeks on Wednesday, May 6th. And so we're planning our open house for our incoming students.
Awesome. Little plug to, if you're connected, talking to students out there, have them fill out that weekly survey that Miss Beyondich puts out, the week 4 survey. They can fill it out once a day. So they can fill it out 5 times at least, or more if they really want, I guess. And every time they, every one of their entries gets them another entry in for the prize drawings that we've been doing. And it's really good. We've gotten a really good turnout. The turnout on that survey, the response to that survey was pretty low last week. We were wondering if we should continue it. And I said, yeah, let's just really push it and push it out there. And so teachers have been doing that this week. And We've got 40 plus responses already, so that's good. The more data, the better. The more we can hear from our students on how they're doing, what's working, and what their challenges are, the better. So tell students to fill out that online survey today and tomorrow. And what else can we plug? Miss Bonerts, anything that you want to plug, push, talk about, remind?
Just, any 8th graders that haven't filled out their registration for electives yet, now would be a really good time to do it. My website, you can schedule a time to meet with me on my website. You can email me and schedule a time if you feel like you need to talk about it. But again, on their advisory pages are the instructions. So try to do that as soon as you can. Otherwise, the counselors are going to pick electives, and you might not like orchestra or German. Thank you.
All right, thanks. And my plug for Miss Bonerts is she put together a really awesome, really robust web page in really short notice. She didn't have a web page, didn't really have a need for one because students came to her office all the time. And when we closed schools and went into this mode, she had to try to move all that support she provides and all those resources and links and all those good things she does. She had to move that online quickly. So kudos to Miss Bonerts for putting together a really robust web page in a really short amount of time. I was pretty impressed. So please go to our website, STrEAM at asdk12.org/STrEAM, right? Is that how it goes, Sylvia? Go there and check out Miss Bonerts's website. And also she's got office hours for students that want to come in and chat, right? And circle time, if you want to come and visit and talk. What day is your circle?
Today, it's at 2:00 on Thursdays. Today, we're going to be talking about self-compassion, being
All right,
kind to
I'm gonna
yourself.
pop in. Can I pop in?
Totally.
All right, I gotta remind myself. Good, thank you, Miss Bonerts. How about Miss Gatlin? You got anything for us today?
I guess one of the big decisions we made this week was whether or not we were going to have an alternative virtual capstone for our 8th graders. And after taking feedback from teachers and students, it looked like we didn't have a lot of interest for it. So we have done away with the idea of an alternative virtual capstone. And I think we've decided to do just an assembly towards the end of the year for 8th graders that will recognize them. And so we're still working out those details, but for parents who might have been wondering about what that would look like, that's where we're at with that.
Awesome, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order, for the good of the STrEAM Academy audience? Miss Swanson.
I just wanted to say thank you to Mrs. Smith, even though she's not on here, for the lovely, wonderful schedule. Yes, and Sylvia's beautiful flowers. It was super helpful for Connor to be able to have a checklist of everything. So between that and Mr. Mosen's schedule, it's been extremely helpful for us in scheduling things and getting things done. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
We love seeing Connor at the fitness activities. He's awesome. Really good energy.
Oh my gosh, I was supposed to be on a conference call yesterday. During that time, I'm like, sorry guys, I gotta step out because I was laughing too hard because
Yeah.
though he was downstairs, I could hear him.
I thought that might happen. There might be a little bit of a noise issue, but yeah, thank you for going with it.
Yep, he was having a blast. So, and he's over here giggling, listening now.
Yep, I can hear everything you're saying.
Okay, oops. I was saying some good things about you.
All right, well,
Coffee and
oh, go ahead, Connor.
and I thought it was kind of funny since this is called Coffee with McKelkey. We're both having coffee.
Connor, go put that coffee down. You don't need coffee.
Yes, he does. Oh, yes.
Yes, I do. It actually helps me focus.
If he does not have his coffee, he will not be doing any sort of assembly because Mom may have to be bailed out of jail.
So Kelly Harris wants everyone to know, let the teachers know that the Google Classroom summaries that parents receive come in to parent emails at the end of the day. So if teachers want to be proactive, those announcements need to come the day before. So that's just an FYI. We pass it on to our teachers.
All right. I think that does it for coffee, our morning coffee today. Thank you everyone who was online, who's able to attend. We'll officially end, and I'll stop the YouTube feed, but we do a soft end and we stay on in case people want to talk or anything else. So okay. Anything else for the good of the order before I stop the YouTube feed?
One more question is, can we, Ms. Harris wants us to clarify, when is the last day of online school?
So unless I am informed and told otherwise, which I've heard nothing to indicate this, it'll be the same day that we planned the regular, the last day of school, on our calendar, which is, I'm looking right now, I think it's the 24th. Take a quick look. I have heard nothing from the district saying that we are going to end any 22nd.
21st.
Okay, so yeah, the date on the calendar of May 21st would be, what we plan on the last day. So we'll take a look at what that last week, those last couple days should look like, and we'll get more information out to parents. We definitely want to do something to recognize our 8th grade students who are matriculating on. And so we'll probably have like a virtual assembly open to all parents and students, and highlight them in some way. So we'll do that in, that last week in May. And we'll do some wrap up stuff and kind of start to wind the year down that last week, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st. So yeah, unless you hear an announcement from the district and from me, we're planning on going through May 21st, which was the scheduled last day. We'll have more information to come. Good question. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, I am going to officially wrap up and end this version of our morning coffee. Thank you all for being on. Stop the live stream.